It's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with what living in Australia is like, explained by Americans, South Australia, Sydney. Before we dive in, y'all know I need y'all to smack that subscribe button, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon and drop it in the comment section. We are going to break this video down into 2 parts, so let's start with part 1. Oh, you got
one thing that's coming to my mind with cultural differences is language, I guess. Not just the accent, but the way we speak. And I remember in Australia, they would always say, "That's okay," but not in the way that you would think. I would always say, "Thank you for helping me with this," or "Thank you for dinner," or just being thankful for something, and they would say, "That's okay." And it always confused me, like, what are you talking about? It's okay for what? And another one, which was, these are all things that I'm remembering from the very beginning of my mission because I learned big lessons. I was like, oh. And one of the things was they don't really say what, because it's kind of rude to ask. When you don't understand what somebody said or you didn't hear them properly, it's kind of rude to say what.
Really?
It's more proper or common to say pardon or sorry.
Okay. Gotcha.
I didn't hear you. So you usually just say, "Sorry, what'd you say?" Rather than saying what, like an
that makes sense. That does make sense.
American would, just very blunt, kind of like that. And so that's something that I learned a lot from. I learned a lesson like that because my mom was getting mad at her child for saying that after I had done it. I was like, "Oh, sorry." And so Australia is pretty known for their accent and like little sayings like "G'day, mate," and they say that very often. I heard people say that, and it was usually more of the Bogan people, which is, I would say, the equivalent of like a hillbilly or redneck type of thing, a Bogan.
Okay.
And that would say things more like that. Like,
"G'day,
put
mate.
another shrimp on the Barbie." They don't actually say that, but they do call it a Barbie.
Yeah, I was going to say, they say prawn. They don't say shrimp.
And they would say, I wrote a whole book of the terms that they used. It was really funny things that they would say. And they would call boys blokes. Like, "Do you see that bloke over there with that Sheila?" Sheilas were girls.
Gotcha.
Just in general. Like, it's not like any particular girl. It's just
a
girl in general. A Sheila.
Gotcha.
Which was really weird. I thought it was really weird. I didn't understand half of it. And one of the things I thought was pretty funny is when they'd be describing somebody that was kind of slow or something like that. They'd always similar things to what I'm about to say. They would say a couple sandwiches short of a picnic, sausage short of a Barbie, or something like that. Something like to the effect that they're missing a little bit of something up in here. But they came up with so many different ones, and I can't even imagine. I can't even think of all of them. They were hilarious, really funny things like that.
Couple sandwiches short of a picnic. I love Australians.
That they would always think of, and of course, in their accent, when the R sounds like an ah, you'd say "over in the car." It isn't far. Oh, one thing they do, it was really funny. Australians don't really answer your questions directly. They kind of answer it. I don't know. Like when somebody would say, "Oh, how much is that?" They'd say, "Oh, it wasn't much." Or, "Oh, it wasn't cheap." They wouldn't tell you the price. They'd say, "It wasn't cheap," or "It wasn't too much." Like, "How far away is your house?" "Oh, it's not far. It's not far." What?
Be like, I need specific answers. What are we talking about? An hour? We're talking about 50 miles? Well, no, I need it in those kind of terms. Because not far doesn't help me. It's just, because not far to you and not far to me could be 2 completely different things.
Just tell me, how far, 10 minutes? I don't know. And then they'd, describe directions differently sometimes as well. Like they'd say, they wouldn't tell you like to go on like streets. They'd tell you landmarks more. Like, okay, this tree, you'll see this tree over here, mostly in the bush, like where I was serving in the bush. Like, okay, you'll see a tree that's kind of lopsided. You turn left there. Then you go like, I don't know, go for, like however far, and then turn left at this tree or at this little house, something like that. Like, really weird like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm having withdrawals from my accent lately. I've been really missing it, so maybe this is my opportunity to bring it back. I don't know what they would say. I don't know.
You gotta give it to you gotta give it to us now. Now that you talked about it, you gotta give it to us.
Stuff like, they'd say, yeah, like, oh, good day, mate. How you going? Or, no, I can't do it. It's too much. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I hate impersonating the accent. I feel so dumb. I did it, like, there were way too many missionaries in my mission that tried so hard that were American that just didn't have the accent, and then they tried, and it was so bad. That's what I feel like right now. I can't do it.
The city, very, very multicultural. I know in America we like to say we're a melting pot, and we are, but in Sydney, you'll go out and you'll see nationalities from every continent and so many countries, and it's really unique to see that. It's awesome, and you hear tons of different languages being spoken. You can walk downtown Sydney and you can get whatever kind of, well, except for Mexican food, which I love, you can get like almost any other kind of food. You can get Korean food, Japanese food, Polynesian food, just you name it, and you can probably find a place in the city where you can get it. And so that was awesome, and it opened up my eyes and allowed me to work with a lot of cultures. University of Sydney is awesome. I spent in my second area where we spent kind of in Sydney. We would go there a few times a week to contact, and a lot of Asians were there and would come and study abroad there, and it was just a really fun place where there were a lot of different cultures and a lot of different ideas, and it was very much a place where ideas were fostered. In Sydney, you have, the Opera House, which is awesome, which it was in my second area, so we, on P-days and stuff, we would get to go up and do all the touristy things. So that was really cool. You walk out and you have like Aboriginals playing the didgeridoo, which is kind of this like long stick that you blow into and makes the kind of wailing sound. It's really hard to describe. You kind of have to listen to it. But you have Hyde Park, which is kind of like Central Park in New York, where it's just a really pretty park, and people just go there and enjoy it. And right across from Hyde Park is actually where the church has their kind of main office in Sydney, and there's like a little chapel that the YSA ward meets in, and so that's kind of is a really pretty place for the church to kind of be based in Sydney. Right across the street from Hyde Park, there's a really cool cathedral that a lot of tourists go to see. That's we went in a few times, and it's beautiful, stained glass, and it's a really it was one of the first things that was built there, and so it kind of harkens back to a lot of the Catholic origins that Sydney, that Australia itself was based on. And
I think that's really dope. First of all, to have just such a melting pot where you got people from like every continent, or know what I'm saying, all in one place. I think that's absolutely amazing. Like you talk about the Sydney Opera House. Whenever I see that in videos, I just think it's absolutely beautiful, and I would love to be able to just see it in person and get my picture in front of the Sydney Opera House. Love to be able to have that happen. But yeah, it all just sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's just a really fun melting pot in a lot of cultures. The cost of living there is very high. I know in terms of mission funds, we would be in the top 3 or top 5 consistently of like how much funds the missionaries would get, because it's expensive to live there. If you go to McDonald's, you're probably going to spend $10 at least. If you
That's
want
not
like a
bad.
burger, fries, and a drink, it'll put you out $10. And so
That's about what it is here. If you get a combo meal, it's dang near $10 here. Unless you just like a McDouble, a small fry, and a drink. But for a good sized burger, fries, drink, it's about $10 here.
if you want like a burger, fries, and a drink, it'll put you out $10. And so that's kind of, it's a little bit different than it is here in terms of that. So our mission, the senior couple would pay the bills and stuff, but one time the bill got sent to us, and this was when I was 25 minutes outside the city, and it was like $1,200 a week for rent for a little 2-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor of some kind of rundown apartment complex. And so it's
Did he say $1,200 a week? Ain't no way on Lord's green earth. Ain't no way that's what that can't be
expensive.
what he said. That can't
People
be.
get paid a little bit more. If you work at McDonald's, you're getting paid $15 an hour. So people they obviously find a way to make it work. I'd say overall the standard of living is pretty comparable to what it is here in the U.S., with a few kind of differences here and there. Not everybody has the latest iPhone, but most people have smartphones. So it's just kind of a little bit of a difference. But overall, I'd say the standard of living, and in terms of very general cultures, it's pretty similar to the U.S. I'd say you get almost as much difference in culture going from the West Coast to like the East Coast as you would going from the U.S. to Australia. So it's pretty comparable in terms of overall culture and overall standard of living. I'd say it's pretty comparable to the U.S. Transportation, a lot of people have cars, but the public transport system, especially in Sydney, is built out a lot more than it is in most cities in the U.S. You can get most places you want to go on the train and then buses.
Okay.
And so in terms of costs for that, it was around, so from like one of my areas to the temple, which was probably a 40-minute train ride, is about $10. So it's manageable. The cars people drive are a lot smaller than they are in the U.S. The roads are a lot smaller than they are in the U.S. You don't ever see anybody driving around an F-250. If you do, it's going to be like a construction guy or somebody that has a real need for it. They drive on the other side of the road than we do in the U.S., so that provides an interesting learning curve for a lot of missionaries. That I luckily started off my area on a bike, or started off my mission on a bike for the first 6 months, so I kind of got my mind shifted before I had to jump into the driver's seat of a car. But it's interesting and fun and cool to learn about.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely a good difference. Definitely a lot of adjustments you definitely are going to have to make, I feel like. But that's with moving to if you go to any other country, of course there's going to be obvious adjustments that you have to make. But overall, man, Australia sounds like an awesome place. I can't wrap my head around $1,200 a week. That's insane, but that's all we got. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon and drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy Neal, out.